Alright guys, we're here. We're going to start working on my motorcycle, my GZ250. I've got it supported right now. I did not buy the lift that's required. I just supported it with my engine hoist and then put some blocks under it for extra support. And now it's held off the ground just a little bit. I didn't want to raise it up too much. I didn't want to do anything too scary. So once we get everything loosened up and the tire is ready to come out, we'll raise the bike up, slide it out from underneath the bike, and then lower it back down on my blocks. Everything's pretty sturdy right now. We're going to get started. We're going to take off the chain guard first, remove the chain, and then start removing the brake cable on the other side, and finally loosening up the axle nut and pulling the tire out. Tire.
Mom said you didn't ink and you forgot to buy an inner tube in the front.
Go over there and support the side. Push it toward me.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
There we go.
So you could have got it loose.
Yeah, I guess I could have done this while the bike was on the ground. Do you want to find one of my magnetic thingies? My magnetic tray?
Oh. You could stick it on your bumper.
No, just stick it right there. Okay, support the bike. Oh. You're going to be doing this quite often.
I probably shouldn't have put my hand in the sprocket. I guess nobody's sitting on it, so.
Okay. Chain guard is off. Yeah.
I mean, being a novice at it.
It is a little unnerving.
I mean, you know, I plan to be into
this
bikes.
one is loose.
I plan to be into bikes, so I should probably learn.
You should probably pay real close attention.
Although YouTube will teach me.
I didn't watch a single YouTube thing about this.
I'm sorry, but YouTube's not going to be YouTube in a few years.
Yeah, well, it'll just change. It'll morph into something else.
YouTubers are making their own, like, flipping, like, recording software, or recording things and making people pay for it. That's when you know they're there for the money. At least you haven't ride your bike for a while.
So a little bit of oil, grease.
And you just pull off the chain, Can you just release the chain so you don't have to take off that whole side cover there?
What you do is you look for the master link. Alright guys, unfortunately we're going to have to cut the old chain off. There is no master link, so we got to cut the chain off. And that means we have to cut the links off. And then the old chain will come right off. You ready?
Yep.
Remember guys, whenever you're cutting metal, always wear eye protection. Right? Which way does this spin? I need to make sure I'm throwing charge down. Easy pile, let's go. That was easy, huh? Alright, wrap that up, put that back up. Alright guys, that was very simple to remove the old chain.
Over and under. If you go on the videos, like, there's no way I'm doing it. I'm taking everything apart just to get this part out.
Here we go. One old chain off the spike.
It stinks in here.
The wheel bearings are good. That's good. Good wheel bearings are good, huh? Right? Okay, so now we're going to have to remove the linkage for the brakes. The brakes are inside here. Okay, so you probably don't have to pull this all the way out. Just gotta maybe we do. Maybe there's a retaining groove. That's what it looks like, so that it doesn't come off or out. We pull this out. This should come right off. There's a groove in here that this bolt rests in to keep it from coming off if it was to get loose. Okay, let's throw this in. Gotta remember to get that washer back in there. It's all part of the pieces that needs to go back, so we'll go ahead and hopefully hold that together. All right, so now we've got that off. Now we're going to pull off the cotter pin and remove the axle bolt. And then this wheel should drop down and ready to remove. Alright, so we straighten up this cotter pin that I just replaced after tightening the chain a few weeks back. Pull out the cotter pin. The reason why they're called cotter pins is because Mr. Cotter invented them. I'm just kidding. There's also a bolt down here with the cotter pin in it that holds this frame piece to the brake drum. And we'll have to get that little cotter pin out too. And yes, I have replacements for these. And technically you do not have to pull these things off when you're just replacing the chain. Sometimes it's easier just to break these cotter pins because you're going to replace them anyway. You never will want to reuse a cotter pin.
That sounds stupid.
Because they're very flimsy, and once you bend them, they're stretched. Okay, that's going to be about a 13 millimeter. And what this bracket does down here is it holds onto the brake drum to keep the brake drum from spinning with the wheel. Makes sense, right? Now that bar is kind of loose. We're gonna have to make sure that's tight. All right, so we'll put the washer and the nut back on here. Put that in our tray. Okay, now we're ready for that axle nut.
For some reason I thought the sprockets were those little twisty things.
No.
Those are the shock absorbers.
Huh?
Those are like the shock absorbers.
Those are shocks, yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know, I keep comparing all the things on cars. I have the brake drum.
You know, and you know you can change.
Okay.
You can change how firm these shocks are by moving this to drop it down to make it softer, or up to make it firmer. I don't know any difference, so. We need to remove the valve stem, which those plastic pieces are stuck.
Does that do the trick?
These tires are fucking stiff. Holy shit. Wow.
It's not funny, but
These tires are fucking stiff.
Yeah, when it didn't shift, I knew I knew right then it's gonna be pretty difficult.
There you go.
Do you want me to step on one side too?
See, that's how you break the bead. Okay? That's a broken bead now. I'm gonna get a 12mm. 12mm. See, some guys will buy a bead breaker, but I was hoping that me just stepping on the tube will.
That's why you said don't laugh at you?
That's why I said don't laugh at me. Okay, so first of all, I want to make sure that this is going to come off here. See, these are a lot like bicycle tubes. Okay, but just thicker rubber, more durable, and they have threaded valve stems so that you could put a nut on here. We'll take some steel wool, some fine sandpaper, and just sand down the bead a little bit. The rim band is fine on it.
Oh, and now we'll fill out most of the tires that are over there. You're gonna hear it pop here in just a second. Just like that.
The side has not popped on yet.
Oh, that's not good.
Air it up again. Come on. Here it comes.
Just need that lucky sound. It's almost there. God dang, that's scary.
Okay, I need to deflate this tire very quickly. Okay guys, well right here we have our new tire on our rim. What we've got here is we've got the balancing mark with the valve stem. This is the side with the drive chain, so the wheel will turn this way, and I don't know if you can see it, but here's the arrow indicating that this wheel turns this way here. Some tires, it doesn't matter, the tread is either or, but this one definitely has a specific direction of travel, and this is it. So as you saw, we got both beads in, and they popped pretty easily. Probably put like 60 pounds of pressure in it, but they popped. We used a little bit of soapy water, which helped dramatically. You choose which word. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and verify that we have enough air in this tire. For the GZ250, the specified tire for a single rider is 29 pounds. I aired it up to 30 pounds just to keep things simple, and I don't think it's going to really matter much. And we're right at 29, 30 pounds, around there somewhere. So okay, well, we are ready to put this back on, but first of all we're going to have to see if it's balanced. And don't laugh, but I am a very frugal guy. I like to do everything I can with the tools and the equipment that I already have. And that's why I removed the bead with my feet instead of a tool. Worked out just fine. If this was a car tire, I'd be like, there's no way I could do that. But this is a motorcycle tire, and as you saw, I was able to do it fairly simple. So we're going to go ahead and start working on that. We're going to go ahead and start working on that, but we're going to do it in the morning. See you in the morning. We've got my sprocket here that I have to change. That is the brake, the rear brakes, and I'm going to be swapping those. Got my cup of coffee. That's a necessity for doing any type of work. And eventually we will get to the front tire. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on, work on getting this front sprocket off right now. There we go. Okay, first off, it's going to be a difficult job here. If we can't hold this still. What is all that in the bracket? This is the side. Could I? Oh, lucky. Wow, that's fucking cool. There we Go, guys. That was very easy. Smack that baby right off, and bam, there's our piece here. At first I thought that this was leaking oil, but there's no sign of it down lower. So this is probably just some that came off the chain when I oiled it. I hope. I don't see any signs of it leaking. I think this piece down here, let's see if you can see, yeah. This is the shifter seal right here. And this here, I saw a lot of oil residue underneath. I have that seal, so we are going to be changing that soon also. So we got that off. That was pretty darn easy if you ask me. And now we're going to have to find a way to get this off. And I think I have a way to do this without any problems. Let me take a quick look at it. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to find a wrench to go on this side. And we're going to brace it against the ground, and we're going to undo it. That's how we're going to do it. Again, we're going to use our impact gun. I never use my impact gun to put stuff on because you can't judge how much torque you are putting on the bolt. So there's certain things that is okay to use your impact gun on, and there's some that you don't want to, like putting things on. Okay, let's see if we have any luck. Simple, simple, simple job to do if you just know how to use your tools. But I'm going to take this opportunity to clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to put any degreaser in here. So I'm going to hold it like this and spray it down a little bit. And this way here, I can go ahead and clean any road grime off of it now, because I won't have a chance to do it when it's on. It'll be really hard to get to. So. And when I had my shifter seal leaking, it was dripping pretty bad. It would let out probably 5 really large drips every time I shut the bike off and leaned it over. And what I did to solve that problem temporarily was I took some Marvel mystery oil, and it's a great. And what it did for my seal is it caused it to swell up a little bit, and it stopped the leak completely. So I'm just going to apply a little bit to this outer surface here, and that will help recondition the seal, and it will last a little longer. Marvel mystery oil is not a mystery because you can find it anywhere, but it's definitely a good product. I use it a lot on cars. I had this one car that the engine was frozen solid. The engine had some water in it, and it actually created a very serious rust issue on the inside of the engine, so it rusted all the cylinders. I poured some of that into each cylinder, and I let it set for 3 or 4 days, and when I went to fire that thing up, it actually fired up and ran. I wound up overhauling the engine anyway, of course, but I just wanted to see if I could get the engine running, and it actually ran. It didn't run too well because, you know, the rust created a compression leak, ate away some of the pistons, but or the rings, I should say. But for the most part, it ran, and that just shows you the power of Marvel mystery oil. Okay, here's the one sprocket, the forward sprocket, And here is the rear sprocket, the one that I'm about to mount here. And everything mounts up just fine, or measures up just fine, I should say. Everything looks pretty good. There you go. So this is the way it goes right here. There you go. Okay, and we're going to be reusing our old bolts, but there's one thing. There's one thing that we need, is we need to go get some Loctite, because we've got to use Loctite on these. These might be little self-locking bolts or nuts, but we're going to go ahead and use Loctite on them in order to make sure that we're not going to come loose going down the road. That would be a bad day. There we go. All right, so now that's on there. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the front sprocket. I'm going to go ahead and get the front sprocket mounted. There we go. And same thing, I have to degrease this and the threads, put some Loctite in there. Although there is a locking ring here, I'm still going to go ahead and stick some Loctite on there. And once we clean this up and stick some Loctite on there, it's going to lock in, and it's going to be a great solid bolt, no issues. And then after I get this mounted and in there, I'm going to go ahead and remove the shifter and start to work on getting that seal out of there. That'll be the next step.
Are you going to be recording?
I am right now.
Oh. Are you just...
Alright, so after degreasing the threads here, it's going to allow the Loctite to really stick. There is a lot of grease down inside the threads here. After cleaning them up, they'll stick nice. And the reason for the Loctite, of course, is so that this nut does not spin off of there going down the road. Any of that would definitely be a horrible thing. Okay, looks like I'm ready to mount this baby back up. Alright, we're going to blow out the threads just to make sure we're completely dry before we start putting this back on. Okay. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and get that Loctite out. Alrighty, so that was pretty darn easy. So now we're going to move to the rear sprocket. As with the other threads, I want to make sure that all the grease is cleaned out of them so the Loctite has the best chance to lock. Okay, so now I'm going to start coating the threads one by one with Loctite and getting them snugged up. And then I'll go through and tighten everything up before it has a chance to dry. You come to say hi to everybody?
The lady was also telling me she grooms her own.
Okay, now that we've got all of them tightened down with Loctite, this piece is actually ready to mount back onto the tire. We're going to have to go into balancing the rear tire to see if we can get it balanced without having to go out and buy any tools. Because this job is all trying to use what I've already got or very little extra. Okay guys, here we are. Here's my invention to balance my tires. I got 2 jack stands and I'm using the axle nut in order to support the tire. And if I turn the valve stem 90 degrees, it immediately starts bringing it down to the bottom, meaning the valve stem is a little heavier than the rest of the tire. So that would tell me that I would need to add a weight up top here to balance it out. And right now I do not have any weight, so I got to go get some. And I'm going to go buy some stick-on weights. Hopefully I can get it balanced out a little more than what it is right now. It shouldn't be too much. As you can see, no matter where I turn it, that valve stem wants to be on the bottom. Gravity's bringing it down. And if I stop it there, it pretty much rests right there at the bottom of the rim. On the way to work one early morning, my lights on my speedometer burn out on me. And it's very hard to see how fast I'm going when it's pitch black out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece and take it apart. I have to remove the entire speedometer in order to get that screw out, which holds in the speedometer assembly. And we just take the 10mm nuts off the bottom here, and that will release the assembly. I don't know how these come out, so I got to play with them a little bit. Okay, they just pop out. Just like that. Here's one. They're tiny little mofos. Okay, now we'll get the bottom one out, which is a little harder to get to. There we go. Really cool.
You wanted to go to the gym sometime today.
There we go. Do not know. Okay. So here are the two tiny little bulbs that are in that speedometer. I have to look really hard to find the, oh, no, the number. The number is, not too much of old man. Oh, that wanted to rest over there on its side. Go to the parts store. I'm going to pause the video. Be back in a flash. We bought ourselves some new bulbs for our speedometer here. About a 2-pack. Bring this back up here. Okay, we'll stick the lower one in first. I'll get the second one out. And I just want to go ahead and turn on the bike, make sure they work. Interesting, only one is working. Alright. Now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get this pushed back in here. I would imagine the side that's working is the top one. Ah, that's the bottom one. Interesting. Use our pliers to grab onto it and pop it back in its socket. There we go. Turn the key on one more time, make sure she's working. Oh. Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. As you all know, I'm new at this bike, and I'm not too familiar with it. The reason it has two bulbs, and I didn't think about it until now, is that one of the bulbs is for the high beam light, and the other bulb is for speedo light. Speedo, or the high beam one, was working, but I'm going to go ahead and just keep two new ones in here. I should have thought about that earlier, but I didn't. So, what the heck, right? Okay. Place this baby back on here. There we go. Put the screw back in. And voila, guys. Our lights have been changed, and now we reconnect the speedometer cable. And there we go. Speedometer lights have been changed. There we go. They're all working now, guys. Okay, so now we're going to move forward. Okay, I've got a bunch of 1/4 ounce weights. And here's what we're going to do. Alright, So we already know that this is the heaviest point because it is sunk down. What we're going to do is we're going to throw on one of these weights here. To the very tip top. Grab our towel here to make sure that we have a clean surface to apply this to. And let's go ahead and apply it. Okay, now that that's applied, we hold it here and we check it again. Okay, so we still got a slight rotation. Now we stick it right on the middle. As you can see now, it is perfectly balanced. Wherever we place it, it does not rotate out of that area. Just like that, guys. That is how you balance a motorcycle tire, with stick-on weights and 2 jack stands. Alright, so now all we have to do is we have to start off next by putting the tire back onto the bike. Okay, folks. We now have our motorcycle tire balanced and ready to go back on. There's just a few things that we have to do prior to reinstalling the wheel. And first of all, we need to get the hub ready for new brake shoes. Okay, first off, we're going to degrease the inside of the hub. I'm going to try not to get any on the bearing here. Just on the outside where the brake shoes will ride. Do a lot of brake dust in there. It's going to take just a little bit of drying. Okay. It should be just beautiful. Okay, now we're going to take some fine sandpaper and we're going to sand the inside of the hub. And sanding the inside of the hub will get it ready for the new shoes. The new shoes will work into this hub a lot easier if you take the shine off of it. That's what we're doing now. Okay, again, blow it off, get all the dust out of it. Okay, now this wheel is ready to put the hub on. Here is the hub, right here. We just need to take these old brake shoes off and apply the new ones. Just that one aside. Okay. is my blade at? Here in our new shoes, they cost about 12 bucks. Not that much. And I'll go ahead and run my fine sand paper over these just a little bit. We're all ready now to apply these babies back on here. These springs were not cleaned up, so let's get them cleaned up. Okay, so now slide them on just like that. Very, very simple to do. Okay, now we move these back over to the wheel, get them installed, and then we can work on getting the wheel back on the bike. Here we are now. I know that these brakes will go in right like this, slide in there like that, and everything will line up with the axle. Okay. Okay. Now we go and flip this guy around, and then we mount the sprocket back on there. Installing the sprocket's pretty self-explanatory. There's these tabs here that go into the tabs you see here. So we just line them up and slide them in. Just like so. And now we'll have to raise our bike up and start sliding this underneath. Have to get a wrench, the tires in there. It's moved all the way forward. We might have to move it more forward in order to get the chain on. Right now I gotta loosen up the chain adjusters so that we have plenty of slack in there. Now we start adjusting the chain adjusters back to where we need them. Gotta bring this side back quite a bit more. And how I've been adjusting the chain is just checking the slack, the play. And I know on some other sites they're a different way, but right now we got about 1.5 inches of play. Middle of that line and that line. So let's go ahead and get this one backed up to it. The side is there. Looking good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the axle bolt. There's 2 cotter pins on this other side that we're going to have to make sure that we get. Okay. Okay. Now that's snugging up. This chain is really much shorter when you're talking chain. It's much shorter than the one that was on here, so I believe it was a good idea to replace this chain. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and set my tape measure here so I can get a good look at it. It's about 1.25 inches. We can okay, right now we're at about 1 inch of play. That's where I'm going to keep it right there. Okay, so now we got to double check that the adjusters are the same. There we go, that's pretty darn straight to me. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up this nut, and then I'm going to torque it down to specs. Okay, slightly less than 1 inch of play in the chain. I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. That looks good to me. So now what we have to do is finish torquing these down, then snug up the adjusters. Wrench is set up for 53 foot-pounds. That's what this bolt should be torqued down to. There we go. Now, just so that I know I'm good, I'm going to recheck the adjusters, the adjuster marks. Make sure that they're even on both sides, so that wheel is perfectly even. Everything looks good. Now that we're all adjusted, we're going to take the 12mm. I'm going to snug up these nuts right here on both sides. Okay, so right now our motorcycle chain is fully adjusted and it is ready to go. Now, I know I'm doing it a lot, but before I put the cover on, I'm going to check the slack of the chain one more time because I've torqued everything down, and now we're just going to make sure again. There's nothing wrong with triple and quadrupling check everything because this is a precision thing here. That goes up to 1/4. Yep, there we go. We're just shy of 1 inch play, 3/4, somewhere in the middle of 3/4 and 1 inch of play on the chain. That's perfect for me. All right, so now we're going to put this cover back on, but like everything, we're going to clean it first. Just in case you're asking, this is a little bit of degreaser and kitchen soap. right now we're going to apply the cotter pin here and down below on the hub support bracket. Like any good mechanic, I've got all kinds of different shapes and sizes of cotter pins in here. This looks like the little one that goes on the hub support and the axle nut. Axle nut's all aligned beautifully. Do I have a larger one? I feel like I should have a larger one. There we go. That's better. Okay. There we go, guys. That cotter pin's on. Oh, I didn't finish tightening this. Snugging this up. Okay, there you go. There you go, guys. Cotter pins are in. Okay, so I am happy with how things went. The rear tire, chain, sprockets, brake shoes, everything is back on. Everything's snugged up, tightened, ready to go. We've got the speedometer lights done. Okay guys, now I have the front wheel supported off the ground. I have my blocks set up there to support the middle of the bike, and the front tire is done up and my engine hoist is holding it up. So now all we have to do is remove the caliper, remove this nut here and the speedometer cable. We start working on getting the tire off of the rim. We're gonna have to reuse this tube.
You decided to go into anywhere? Those things that have the two holes in them. Cinder blocks, that's what they are.
Alright, so we need to find the directional arrow on this. And this is it. So this is the way that it has to go on. Okay? Alright, so I want to put this on face down, like so. Right, like that. Okay. And now I want to make sure Okay guys, just like we did the rear tire, we got it set up on our homemade tire bouncer, and we're going to turn it 90 degrees. We're going to stop it dead stop. Perfect. I'm going to turn it another 90 degrees, stop it. Getting some spin out of it. Let me stop it. I wonder if it's the valve stem. It is the valve stem. It's a very light imbalance at the valve stem, just like the back one, but this is even smaller than the back one. So I think maybe a 1/4 ounce weight right here where this factory weight is. Where'd that go? Oh, right here.
It has a good like little holder so you can clean it.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Spin it while you're cleaning it, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I miss riding my bike.
Now let's hope that these weights just stay on. Maybe the camera could see. Okay, perfectly balanced wheel. I did not have to buy the balancer. I created my own. Alright guys, now for the simple task of mounting the wheel back to the bike. Okay guys, the main axle bolt for the front goes to 47 foot-pounds. We'll set that up on our torque wrench. 47. There we go. And then what we do is we tighten up the locking pin here. This is a, oh, there's no, oh wait, there it is. This is a 87-973 Stanley. Usually there's a number on that, but I apologize, I don't have the number to show you. Okay, so now the lock nut is solid. This is to keep the axle nut in place from backing out by itself. So we are all done with the front now. Tires mounted, balanced, and back on, ready to rock and roll. And it says in the service manual that when you have the wheel up off the ground, lift up and down to check play in the steering. And there's absolutely no play in the steering, so I'm happy with that. Okay guys, what do you think? What do you think about the job that I did today? Here's a recap on everything I did, starting at the top. I replaced the light bulbs on my speedometer. I replaced the front tire. I replaced the rear tire, the rear sprocket, the forward sprocket, and the entire chain. And of course, I changed the oil. What do you think, guys? She ready to ride? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go give her a good test drive as soon as I get out of the shower. And I will report back to you guys if there's any problems. If you don't see another video regarding my bike and the tire job I did, then you can feel free to assume that everything worked perfectly. As always, guys, thank you very much for your support in watching my channel. I really enjoy producing these videos for your enjoyment. I like to see that everybody's watching them, and I enjoy comments, so please give me comments. Even if you're complaining about something that you feel that I did wrong, go ahead and tell me what you think. Tell me what I could have done better, more efficiently, and maybe I can do that next time. All right, guys, until the next video, get out there and have some fun, man. Enjoy life. Do whatever makes you happy. Thank you for watching Cobra Vids, and we'll see you on that AR-15 build coming up in 1 week. See you then. Okay, guys, here's an update. I was planning on going out and doing a quick trip to the gas station, gas her up and everything, and I noticed my tire was flat, and check those bubbles out, guys. I actually punctured the tube when I was putting the tire on, so I got to pull it back off, do it all over again. But I guess that's par for the course. I must have pinched the tube or damaged the valve stem. I don't know what the problem is, but I screwed it up, guys. So we'll go ahead and order a new tube for it, pull it off and try it again, see if we could do it right next time. At least we don't have to pull the tire completely off. We just have to pull off one side and then swap out the tube and get it back in there. All right, guys, that's your update. I did take it for a ride, and it rode beautifully. I could immediately tell the difference in the old tires and these new ones. I'm very happy so far. Just got to get a new tube in there. Talk to you later, guys.